Hi VC, it's Aaron, Mitha Alamer, and today I'm doing a response video to my good friend Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. And I think it was yesterday or the day before, Brandon did he ranked his Metallica records. So the 10 studio records, he ranked them. I'm going to add a few more to this, which I think are relevant to the catalog, but I'm not going to include the soundtrack albums, which are Some Kind of Monster and Through the Never. I'm not going to put them in because it's mainly just live stuff of, nothing really new on them, just live versions of songs. And I am going to include the symphony records because they're so different though, and then some of their other records that are relevant to their catalog. A couple EPs are going to be in here, but no 12-inch singles, and that's about it. So I got 16 total, and at the end I will actually show an actual 10 countdown like Brandon did so you can get a comparison. But before I start here, I would like to say, anyone that's watching this video, since it's Metallica, would be interested. I did a video last week on Rock Daydream Nation, and it was a really cool video, a panel of 6 of us on there, and we had a throwdown, 1986 throwdown from the albums Master of Puppets, Peace Sells But Who's Buying from Megadeth, and Rain and Blood from Slayer. So all of us kind of ranked those 3 records. It's pretty cool. If you get a chance, go check out Rock Daydream Nation, that video. It's 86 throwdown. Pretty cool stuff. So I'll just get started here. And, I've always loved Metallica since the 80s, since the mid-80s, when I first discovered them on Ride the Lightning, and Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Kill 'Em All, I was just addicted to when they came out. And, of course, everything after that. I do like all the eras, like I said. So, my number 16, last place. This is, I think, the worst Metallica record, but even this one I think there's great stuff on. And this is Reload, is my number 16. And I just, for some reason, I think this is a throwaway album. It's not a throwaway, but it's kind of just leftovers from Load, which I actually like Load better. And this one, it's got some strong stuff like Fuel and Better Than You is really cool, Devil's Dance. But I think a lot of it's just kind of, they wouldn't have put this out for just a regular record. I think it was leftovers, a lot of it. So that's my number 16 is Reload. At number 15, I actually like this better than Reload. It's going to surprise some people. Lulu. And this album is really different, and you really have to be in the mood to listen to it. I mean, it's not something you're going to play every day, but there's times when I really like this. There's some great riffs on this album. And I think the highlight for me is Junior Dad, the last song. It's like 18 minutes, and it's just amazing, full of great riffs. Killer Metallica stuff on there. I also really like Pumpin' Blood and Iced Honey a lot. Some of the stuff's a little weird on here, but I think this is actually better than Reload for my taste. It's not one I go to all the time, but occasionally I really like listening to it. Up next at number 14, and this would be higher, but it's so short. It's only 4 songs. This is Beyond Magnetic. And this is a little extra thing they did for Death Magnetic, which is kind of what I thought they should have did for Reload. Put like the best songs into an EP instead of a whole nother album, and I think it would have been stronger. But this is a very solid album. I love the song Just a Bullet Away. That's great. It's got Hate Train, Hell and Back, and Rebel of Babylon. All good songs on here. This is really solid. Love Beyond Magnetic. So at number 13, I'm going to go with Metallica S&M. And this record, I like it, but I don't think the symphony and Metallica mix that well for a lot of this record. A lot of it's really muddy to me, and kind of you lose the mixture of the symphony and their playing. A lot of it just kind of blends together for me, and I don't think I don't think it's that great. But there is some really good stuff on here. There's some really cool stuff that's never been on anything before, and it's a good solid record. All these, even my last place ones I like. So there we go. And then at number 12, I'm going to go with Garage Inc. And Garage Inc. is a very odd album because there's the highlights on here are up with the best of Metallica. But the lowlights are some of the worst they've done. It's just cover songs, and a lot of them are really great, like the original, like the Garage Days re-recorded and re-recorded. Those are amazing. And there's also some other great stuff through here, like So What, and what else? Bread Fan. That's one of their best songs. There's some really good stuff on here, but there's a lot of stuff that's not quite as strong. And if this was just, there's another one coming up that's part of this coming up later. But this has got some of the highlights and some of the lower end of Metallica. But it's so good, you got to have it. Okay, and then at number 11, I'm going to go with S&M 2, which I think is a better sounding recording than S&M. It just, the music, it just blends together better. You can hear the separation of the orchestra and Metallica a little bit better, and they blend together better as well. So I really think this is a better album. I like the S&M 2, and it's got a really good track list on it. There you go. But that's my number 11. Now we're getting into the top 10. And the top 10 are all really good, of course. At number 10, and this one here, number 10 for me is the Black Album. Now, when this first came out, I absolutely loved it. It was just, it blew me away. But for me, this album has aged the worst of all their records. It just, you know, after you hear those songs for the 100th, 200th time, like stuff like Sad But True, and, you know, even Wherever I May Roam, it's just, they get so repetitive because there's nothing, they don't take another level. The songs just kind of, they're one note all the way through. So to me, it hasn't aged as well. It's one of those records, this is amazing for the first, you know, 50 to 100 times you hear it. And then it kind of loses their steam because it's just, the songs don't really go anywhere to me. It's still a solid record, and I still love, you know, stuff like Of Wolf a Man, The Struggle Within, you know, The God That Failed, The Last Side, My Friend of Misery. But it's got some of the weakest songs. I've never, ever since I heard it, I've never liked Nothing Else Matters. I know a lot of people love it. But to me, I just don't like that style of James Hetfield singing. When he started doing the crooning, it wasn't for me. I just don't, I think he's more of a metal singer. When he starts getting into the crooning singing, it does something, and I just don't like it as well. But, you know, the singles from here, except Enter Sandman, I can still listen to. All the rest of them, I hear them on like Sirius XM, I just flip right by them because they're so, you know, after you hear them so many times, there's nothing that grabs me anymore with them. But still a solid record. That's my number 10. Number 9, the album Load. And I think this is a great album. It's got, you know, it's not like their original stuff, but stuff like Until It Sleeps. I love that song. I think that's better than anything that was on Reload, except for maybe Fuel. You know, but Thorn Within, I love this album. The House of Jack built. I love how it starts with Ain't My Bitch. It's so different, but this one has kind of some different levels to it than the Black Album. I think the songs go a little, you know, have more changes in them at different times. You know, I've got some great singles on here, Hero of the Day and King Nothing. I still love those songs. I love the song Cure. I know a lot of people don't. That's my favorite on here. But I think this is a great album. Load at number 9. Yep. Okay. Number 8, Saint Anger. Now, this album is most people's least favorite, but to me, this is a very aggressive album, and I really love like stuff like Frantic, just blows me away. The Unnamed Feeling is such a great song. Shoot Me Again, Some Kind of Monster. I just think this is a very aggressive and underrated album. A lot of people don't like the drum sound. I don't mind it, but I actually really like this album. I like it better than the Black Album. That's my number 8. Number 7. Going for Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Great album. It's back to the thrash. A lot of it is really like great thrash stuff. Spit Out the Bone, of course, is an amazing song. But Moth into Flames, really good. Halo on Fire, Atlas Rise. Now That We're Dead, I love that song. The title song's great. I think this is a very, very solid album. Number 6. And this album here, I would have ranked higher when I was younger, but kind of like the Black Album, I don't go to it as much because it's just the songs are so long, I have to be in the mood for it. And that's Injustice for All, which is great stuff. I love Blackened, one of the all-time great Metallica songs. It's got one of the all-time great Metallica closers with Dyer's Eve. I even like The Frayed Ends of Sanity and To Live Is to Die a lot. I like that. Eye of the Beholder, I love. One, of course. But it's just, I love this album, but I have to be in the mood to hear a more progressive, long album to hear it. And so that's why it's at my number 6. Number 5. I think this is the best album they've done since the old days. Death Magnetic. Love Death Magnetic. Really a return for form. The songs on here just blow me away still. Like Brandon was saying, the first 4 songs, That Was Just Your Life, The End of the Line, Broken, Beaten, Scarred, and The Day That Never Comes. All four of those are absolute classics. But then right after that's All Nightmare Long. This is a great one. And then my favorite song, Cyanide. I love Cyanide. I love the riff. It reminds me of the old Metallica riffs. I just love it. Suicide and Redemption, I love that too. And My Apocalypse, I think this is an amazing record. Best thing they've done with Robert Trujillo, and I just love it. So at number 4, and this here is an EP. I put it at number 4 because it's that good. Garage Days Revisited, and this album it has that aggressive Metallica sound. It's the last one that really has that before they went a little more progressive. I mean, they were already doing progressive stuff with Master of Puppets and a couple other things, but still, I can throw this on and it just blows me away still to this day. I never get tired of it. It doesn't get old like a lot of the others. You know, it's cover songs, but they're great, and they redo them so well. You know, Helpless, The Small Hours, The Wait, Crash Course in Brain Surgery, and then, of course, how a lot of metal fans discovered the Misfits with Last Caress, Green Hell, which is solid. Very good. This is actually, I like this, my number 4 for Metallica. And that is part of Damage Inc. But, not Damage Inc. Garage Inc. Damage Inc. is a song. But it's part of Garage Inc. But Garage Inc. has so much other stuff, I had to rank it lower. Okay, at number 3. Most people's favorite Metallica record. To me, it's the one I go to. Out of these 3, the original Metallica with Cliff Burton, there's nothing like it. They're the best. It's not even close. But this is the one I go to the least when I'm rehearing records. It's Master of Puppets, amazing. One of the all-time great albums, of course. The Thing That Should Not Be and Leper Messiah have always been my 2 favorite songs on here. You know, of course, there's the epic Master of Puppets. That's just amazing. Disposable Heroes, one of my very favorite songs. Orion, maybe the best instrumental they've ever done. It's amazing. Damage Inc., Battery. Every song's a master. This is a masterpiece. These top 3 to me are absolute masterpieces. Every one of them, they're pretty much perfect records. So this is just a personal preference. You can put any of these 3 at number 1, 2, and 3, and I couldn't argue. It's just my personal preference of how I like to listen to them. And at number 2, and I've always thought this was my favorite, but the other one is the one I go to the most. My number 2 is Ride the Lightning, and I absolutely love this record. It's the album that got me into Metallica. You know, starting out with Fight Fire with Fire, which is amazing, and then Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, What a First Sight. I mean, it's just, every song is just classic. And I really love Trapped Under Ice and Escape, the 2 that start out the next side. I think they're very underrated Metallica songs. And then you got Creeping Death and Call of Cthulhu, but those are amazing too. But it's amazing. So that leaves at my number 1, Kill 'Em All. And this is the album I still go to the most to listen to. I absolutely love it, but it has to be this version. If it was the regular version like you get, it would be my number 2. But this is the version that has Blitzkrieg and Am I Evil on it, which is the original Garage Days Revisited. Those 2 songs on here. Without those 2 songs, this is my number 2, but with them, my number 1. I absolutely love this album, starting with Hit the Lights, 4 Horsemen, and Motor Breath. Oh my God, I love Motor Breath. You know, then you got Jump in the Fire, amazing song. Anesthesia, Pulling Teeth, my favorite. I take it back. That's my favorite instrumental ever. Absolutely love it. Bass solo, take 1. Headbanging. I've headbanged that so much. And then, you know, Seek and Destroy, No Remorse, Phantom Lord, Metal Militia, my favorite. So number 1, I will go now. I'll show my actual top 10 like Brandon did. My number 1, Kill 'Em All. Number 2, Ride the Lightning. Number 3, Master of Puppets. Number 4, Death Magnetic. Number 5, And Justice for All. Number 6, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Number 7, Saint Anger. Number 8, Load. Number 9, Black Album. And number 10, Reload. Well, that was fun. Thanks for starting this, Brandon. Hopefully it turns into a thread. And everybody have a great one. I'll see you next time.